Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So a few days ago, Jon Favreau was in an interview, and I posted this on Twitter, which you can follow me at RealSWTheory. He was interviewed where he actually revealed that Grogu was training with Luke for 2 years. There's tons of articles that are talking about it now. It's definitely making the rounds all across the internet, and I covered this in the live stream yesterday. However, I do want to make a sole video about it because I don't know if this is some kind of a cover-up that they're just trying to say because of a lot of people, including myself, thinking that it was a little bit too hasty for Grogu to go back to the Mandalorian after being with Luke. You know, where was the real training? Now, Jon Favreau says that it was 2 years that he was training as a Jedi with Luke Skywalker and learning the ways of the Force. Well, I want to see that 2 years, and I think a lot of us want to see that too. So perhaps there will be a time or a show where they will cover those 2 years indeed, and show us of all the things that happened with Grogu and Luke. Now, if he was training with Luke for 2 freaking years, I mean, that's more than Luke trained with Yoda on Dagobah. So it makes me wonder just how powerful is Grogu now that he's able to do all these things, hopefully, that we'll get to see in this season of The Mandalorian Season 3. So let's go ahead and listen to the clip.
Is definitely somebody who has time in both worlds. And we know that he started off earlier in the Jedi Temple. We've seen flashbacks to that, that speak to that. And then we know that he's been rescued and spent many years with the Mandalorian. Went back with Luke. Now we've been 2 years apart from him there training. What's interesting is that as he chooses to return to his friend, the Mandalorian, because he's developed an attachment, it's interesting how that echoes in a way Luke's path when he was drawn to the attachment to his friends and how that helped shape the future. So I think that you're pointing out an interesting thing that we definitely discuss a great deal of where does he sit and who has come before him and what is the relationship of those two civilizations. Because the Mandalorian armor, as Dave has taught me, is developed to counteract all of the natural abilities that the Jedi had and made it a more level playing field. So we have a lot to draw from, both from the Clone Wars, where they both cooperated and fought, and we also have ancient history as we saw in games and in extended universe, where we know what you're referring to, which is that they didn't get along very well in the past. So that's a very interesting, valid perspective.
Hi.
That nice little laugh from Dave when he talks about the extended universe.
That they didn't universe, where we know what you're referring to.
What could we be getting from the extended universe, eh? Anyways, so if Grogu has been training for this long with, of course, Luke Skywalker, what the heck was Mando up to in those 2 years? I feel like we saw a fair bit of Boba, but it really didn't feel like 2 years of time had passed. So I'm thinking, where's that 2 years? Is it going to be covered in a book? Maybe a game? Maybe a comic book? Either way, I'm making this video because I want to see those 2 freaking years, and I want to know exactly how far in the Force as a Jedi has Grogu become, has Grogu gone? Are we going to see him wield the lightsaber for the first time? As we know, Moff Gideon looked at him with the dark saber, and he was like, remember this? And so clearly Grogu knows what a lightsaber is. Perhaps he has used one, and him being 50 years old means that he is about the same age as Anakin Skywalker, which means they were around the temple at the same time, meaning that Grogu was definitely training with Count Dooku. He was training, when Anakin was just 9 years old, he was brought to the Jedi Temple. So Grogu was there possibly during that entire time and before that. So does this mean he trained with Dooku, Mace Windu, Yoda? Is he the son of Yoda and Yaddle? What is his story? What is his lineage to the Yoda species? Is he the direct descendant of the Jedi Grandmaster, or is he his, nephew, or is he something else? Either way, I'm very curious to see what happened in these 2 years, and I want to know his progression in the Force going forward in The Mandalorian. And this is hopefully going to explain, maybe they're adding this in there, randomly, or maybe this was always destined and it was planned, but maybe they're putting this in there because of Grogu's ability that's going to be shown in The Mandalorian Season 3, where he's just going to blow our minds. In Season 1, he was able to Force choke Cara Dune, he was able to do a few other things with the Force, but he got very tired. So he forgot how to use the Force properly. Now, after 2 years of training with Luke Skywalker, how far has his level become? And how far can he now go with the Force without getting tired and exhausted and passing out? So those are all the things that I want to know and I want to see in The Mandalorian Season 3. So let me know what you guys think will happen with Grogu going forwards. What do you think happened in those 2 years? Are we ever going to see that, or is it just kind of glossed over and these are just things that we'll have to understand from interviews? And this one is from Skywalking Through Neverland. So you can go check out that YouTube channel if you want. It's got the full interview. I think it's like an 11 or 18-minute interview or something like that. So a lot of cool stuff in there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this vid, enjoyed my thoughts on it, and let me know what you think down below in the comments. Catch you all on the next one. Until then, may the Force be with you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rule of Two. Today we have a very special guest once again, Emily Swallow, the armorer from The Mandalorian. Today we're going to be answering a lot of fan questions, talking about the Mando and some of her other work as well. So, hey, Emily, how's it going?
Hi, it's going great. Glad to be here. Yeah. Well, you know, little tidbit. Jon told me that originally when he wrote that scene that she died. She sacrificed herself. And I'm so glad that he changed his mind.
Well, we were all wondering.
Sacrificed herself for what?
Oh, yeah.
So that they could escape and for the child, so that she wound up dying at the end when he first wrote it. She died in the fight.
She gets in between the melee and she takes the brunt of the violence, and then she takes the. Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, something I don't know if you can answer this, but that fight scene also reminded me a bit of Darth Maul, just the fluidity of it. And something, a fan theory out there is that your helmet has the same sort of horns that Zabrak has on their head.
I've heard that theory, yeah.
Is there any sort of thing you could talk about regarding that? Or is there any sort of,
I honestly don't know. Nobody told me anything about it. So
it just looks cool, like a gladiator, I guess. All right, fair enough. Yeah. That's my question.
I mean, we have to admit that the armorer, as practical as she is and as skilled as she is, she's also, I think she makes some fashion choices, because she's working with fire all the time, and yet she's wearing this fur cape. So I feel like there are some adornments on her costume that might not have a purpose. They might just be because she's like, I think that looks good.
Was that something that you were thinking about as you were shooting? Like, I have this fur cape that's going to catch on fire. Like, is that?
It didn't cross my mind.
It's Star Wars. It's it's fire.
It's Star Wars, and I feel like it's just a testament to how skilled she actually is, because she's not worried about it.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. Kath, I saw you wanted to get in a question there.
Oh, I was gonna backtrack like a lot, but
go for it.
To piggyback off of what you were saying about the energy on set, I believe I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were present the day that George Lucas himself was on set.
Yes.
Can you speak to what the energy was like that day? Like, what was that like?
It was, I was in awe. I think everybody was in awe. And he was standing there, holding court and just telling all these great stories. And the thing that I just couldn't shake was this feeling of wonder that this man who created these stories over 40 years ago, with a lot of pushback, it was hard for him to get the first film made. He's still around to see what has happened after decades of like new technology and filmmaking, and so many different ways that these stories have been shot and reimagined. And it's still going. His legacy is still going, and he gets to be there for it. And I just can't imagine what that must be like. But it was, he came for Jon's birthday, and it was really fun to get to just sit there and stare, really.
Was everyone trying to just like play it cool, like be natural, or was everyone low-key like freaking out a little bit?
A little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have any sort of input at all? And like, maybe that'd be cool, but what if we do this, or what if we do that in this scene? Or was there any sort of that, or was he just
I don't know. He wasn't around when I was shooting, so I can't say for sure.
I would have wondered what his input would have been for stuff.
Yeah.
But it seems like, I feel like the whole Mandalorian show kind of takes a lot of touch from his show that he was going to make before he sold to Disney about the underworld of Coruscant. And it's kind of like the underworld show of Star Wars, I feel like, The Mandalorian. And now that we're going into the book of Boba Fett, I can't imagine he took the throne. I can't imagine what we're going to see going forwards with that whole crime world. It's going to be pretty sick. But I hope we see you again in season 3 or something. Bring all those Mandos that we saw in episode 2 of season 1 back.
I know. There's so many incredible characters.
Yeah, what the hell?
We got to find out what happened to him, right?
Yeah, and something I always wondered too was in the credits. The I forgot his name. The big armorer, not the armor. Sorry, the big Mandalorian with the the Gallic gun. His last name was Vizsla.
Paz Vizsla, yeah.
Yeah. So what the heck is that? Is he House of Vizsla? Like, is he connected to Kree? Like, that's like, I feel like there's so much more to know about all of these characters, and I feel like they can bring them all back and kind of flesh it out, especially with now Bo going, to Mandalore, I assume, with Din and figuring stuff out. I think it's going to lead stuff up for a sweet season 3.
I think so. I think they're very smart in the way they've been dropping little breadcrumbs here and there.
Oh yeah, but Emily, you comfortable with that?
I can do that, sure.
Okay. All right, everyone. We'll see you later.
Right.
Thanks so much.
This is the way.